Hi, you all. I want to kind of pick up and revisit kind of sort of something I talked about the other day. Level of consciousness. It sounds kind of heady. It's really not. You see, every experience we have, and we all have experiences every day of our lives, we become more aware. Whether we become more aware of something about ourselves or something about the world around us or other people or other things, whatever it is, we become more aware. Every day, our level of consciousness goes up. So an increased level of consciousness or conscious awareness, it can be a big event, but not necessarily so. It can be just simply alluding to the ongoing process that we're all going through all the time. And often that really is what we're talking about, especially when we're talking about the fact that we revisit things that have bothered us in the past and we heal at a deeper level. You see, when we get triggered by something, when something comes back around and it causes us to experience emotions about it again at a deeper, more profound level, it's not because we weren't healed from it to begin with or didn't deal with it before. We certainly did. We dealt with it before at the level of consciousness we were at that time. But now we've had more experiences since then. We are more consciously aware and we deal with it at a whole different level. We see it from a different perspective, kind of like the Hangman Tarot card hanging upside down. It's like, oh, I didn't think about it that way before. Or, oh, I didn't see the other people involved with it that way before. Or it never occurred to me that it might have happened because of that before. Or, I only saw it from my point of view before. Or, oh, I only saw it from their point of view before and didn't even consider myself in it before. All of those things. And so when things circle back around, one, we recognize it so much more quickly now. And two, we see it from a different perspective, a different level of consciousness, a different point of awareness. And so we heal or release it or progress from it and spiral upward. The learning or the healing or the improvement or whatever word you want to use that you're comfortable with is from a more internal space because of the increased awareness that we have about it. So another thing that happens though is the type of healing that we can do sometimes is when it comes to our own self-awareness. Often when we get to a certain level of consciousness, we're ready to do the deepest healing of all. The deepest or densest emotions that we have about things are unforgiveness. What we tend to hold on to the longest is just not letting go of the situation to begin with, whatever it was. You see, when we can let go of it to begin with, at the deepest, densest of the emotions, that's when we can totally heal from it. That doesn't mean that it may never have been outside walking, folks. Sorry, allergies. It doesn't mean that it may never trigger us again. Certainly our memories don't go away. And so we may revisit it again, but we'll just go through it like that afterwards. But you see, when we haven't released the densest feelings that we have, the densest energy in motion, emotions we have about it, that's when it still gets to us and we have that healing or progressing to do. And the way we do that, you all know the quantum leap. Just go ahead and jump to the densest emotion of it. And the densest emotion is always the unforgiveness. And the unforgiveness always has to start with ourselves. Now, I know we are always thinking, but I didn't do anything. Why does she always say that? What am I forgiving myself for? We always have some component in the situation, even if it's only the fact that we've allowed the situation to bother us for so long. Even if that's the only thing we're forgiving ourselves for, then forgive yourself for that. But just allow yourself the freedom of forgiving everything about the situation. You see, that's what you're doing. When you quantum leap to total forgiveness about something in your past, anything in your past, no matter who did it, no matter how bad it was, you're freeing yourself. And that's really what you're forgiving, is that you haven't freed yourself sooner. Because we come to that point of awareness that, wow, if I'd have made this decision in the very beginning, I would have freed myself from this then. But we weren't consciously aware enough then. We had experiences to go through before we could reach that conscious awareness. And the truth is, we've known that. We've done it with other things. But that particular situation, we had some things to go through before we reached that level of awareness about that particular situation. But the longer we keep cycling through it, the more energy we are surrendering to it. So the sooner we come to that level of consciousness about every situation, the less energy we're surrendering to it. The more of our personal energy we are calling back to ourselves and claiming for the here and now and our future. So if there's something that you have circled back to, and you've been around it a few times now, maybe a lot of times now, are you at that level of awareness where you're just ready to stop giving it your energy? Would you like to have that energy in the present and for the future? To leave it and just forgive everything to do with it, including yourself, or whatever part you may or may not have played in it. Maybe the only part you played is that you've stayed in this loop and you've come back to it a few times. There's nothing wrong with that. You've spiraled upward, you've healed more and more every time, you've released more and more of it every time. But now you're ready to quantum leap it. So forgive it all. What do you want to feel about that? What do you want to do with that energy? What do you want to be with that energy? What do you want to experience with that energy? Raise that energy up to them. Transmute it. Now call it to yourself. Make it so. It's your energy management. And that's all being consciously aware is. That's all raising your vibrational frequency is. There's nothing mystical about this or woo-woo about this. And yet, when we start practicing it, our lives do become magical. It does light us up and make us feel, whoa, look at how much easier life is. Look at how much more control I actually have over my time and my personal space when I stop trying to control things that I actually had no control over and never had any control over. When I stop giving energy to things that I don't even really remember all the details to anymore, because I've rewritten those stories so many times in my mind to fit this and to fit that and to make myself feel better about this and to make myself feel better about that, et cetera, et cetera. It is pretty much the way that you can quantum leap and live in great big capital letters. As long as you're free. Have a good week.